fits.
Mm. Different Fresh Page Incorporated.
Another question, Charlie.
What's occurring?
Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
I think in people, uh, probably, in my opinion, in personal taste of people, um, I weren't even going to say one of their names. I was trying to think of the other one. Oh, Bernie Sanders is who I was going to say. Because if they were going to make the right decision, that's who it should have been. But we're going back like nearly 6 years now. Um, but in terms of who will win out of them two, I have to admit it, I think Trump's going to win it. But from what I saw this morning, it's like a 49 to 48 win. None of them win it by like exactly 50%. But it wouldn't surprise me if like he outslaughtered Kamala. Um, just because I think there's a lot of stuff that they don't say. But we're not going to get into that. I know who you think's going to win. You're the same, don't you?
I'm a big Trump fan.
Yeah. Uh,
In a minute.
it's like it's not that we think he's right in the stuff that he's done. It's just some of the
I
stuff
do.
he did as a president. Careful. Some of the stuff he did as a president was actually quite good.
Yeah.
Not the whole thing, just some of it, okay? Um, e economically is the word I'm looking for. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and yeah. Um, but anyway,
Are you ready?
Welcome to the Before the Free Count podcast. In the red corner, it's Charlie Quick. And in the blue corner, it's Callum Hunt. And so, let the show begin.
how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Started a new job, and it's going really well, I think, at the moment, at this present time. Uh, you've recently got promotion, I believe. Well, I say that recently. It was
It's
more
three
like
months ago.
3 months.
I took three. Well, no, it's 4 months ago, and I did 3 months of training, and then a month on trial with the new hours. So yeah, there you go. But I'm not here to talk about that.
Charlie is
Yes,
now the
that's
CEO of Indeed.
yeah. Imagine, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I want to apologize first to the listeners because we said it's really good to be back. Sorry for making you wait a couple of weeks. We'll be back doing it weekly, and it's been another 2 weeks. So I'm not going to say it's definitely going to be back to weekly now. Our lives have just been hectic, but if it is another 2 weeks, it's another 2 weeks, and we do apologize until the next episode. But our life's just been a bit crazy at the moment. It's been very hard to like actually get time to catch up and do this.
Yeah, which is
Um,
sad. I think.
yeah.
Um, okay. Do tell, do tell.
I think we should go. I mean, like, there's a Christmas film that comes out, but I'm not going to see a Christmas film this early.
Oh, red one, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not going to see that. It's
I want to
too
see
early.
that.
Yeah, I want to see it, but I want to see it in November, mate.
Okay, well, what's the film you're thinking?
I think we should go and see Paddington 3.
That's not. Look, I'm not angry at that, but
Oh,
I
thank
haven't
God. I
seen
thought you
one
would
or two.
think that was a really bad idea. It's just that they are actually really good films, even though they're for kids.
Let me try and see one and two before then, because I know
You've not
both
seen them?
I haven't, and I know
Oh, mate.
I actually know that they're supposed to be really good.
They're so good.
It was such a memeable thing. So in my film class at university, there used to be a guy called Josh, and he came in one day after seeing Paddington 2, and he said it's the best film I've ever seen in my life, and
Wouldn't
it's
surprise. Yeah.
and this guy is like really critiquing, and he makes so much critiques. He's seen some real art films, some pretentious stuff, and he's like, yeah, Paddington 2 is the best film of all time, and I stand by that. And he stood by that for years. He's like, no, Paddington 2, best film ever made.
The
And
thing
it's
is that even though it's based, we are really not talking about wrestling this week at the way we're going. We'll get there in a minute, guys. The thing is, as much as people say that I did media as well, and there's a guy I still follow online, who does what's it called, the John Campion show. So John Campion. And I remember when the third one was announced, and he genuinely said back then, and he said it this morning because the first reviews came out yesterday. So he was talking about it on his show yesterday. So I was watching it this morning. There you go, that makes sense. Because the premiere was on Sunday. He said that if it is as good as the other two, or lives up to like the same kind of level, it doesn't have to be perfect. He genuinely, and this is a professional film critic, has actually said it needs to be in the conversation for one of the best trilogies of all time. He's like, I'm not saying it's better than Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or anything like that, but it has to be within the conversation of when you think of the greatest trilogies of all time. It actually needs to be considered if this one's good as well.
Okay, well, tell me this then. Did it get good reviews?
It got, it didn't get bad reviews. It just got, it's not as good as the other two, but it's still brilliant, funny, and charming, was mainly what they said. I mean, Olivia Colman's in it, so you know.
What do you think is the best trilogy of all time?
Oh, see, I'm a sucker for fantasy, and I'd never read or watched Lord of the Rings till about 6 or 7 years ago, and I didn't just watch the films. I brought the extended editions to all of them up to The Hobbit. So when I say, "Oh, I'm going to go and watch Lord of the Rings," it's one of those. Actually, but this will take us into wrestling. Believe it or not, it's actually one of the films I'm considered watching when we fly over to Vegas because it's one of what such a long film. But I watch the extended cuts. So if I want to watch it from Hobbit all the
Yeah.
way through to the Three Kings, genuinely, even if I didn't sleep, I think it would take, well, 3, 6, 9, 12, 14, 16 straight hours, maybe
I think it's like
17,
I think it's
maybe
like
18 if you add it all together.
a 11-hour flight, 11, 12.
Yeah. So you could easily watch like one of the trilogies in that time. But no,
Okay,
to me, I think it's the best motion picture wise, I think it's one of the best of all time. I mean, everyone else says it's The Godfather. The problem is I have a confession. I've only seen the first one, and my dad's favorite book is The Godfather, and he's seen the film 1,000 times. And the reason why I haven't watched the other two is because I love them type of films, but to me, the greatest gangster film of all time is Goodfellas.
Goodfellas is great, and
I,
let me
I,
just
I think I personally I just think it's better.
let me
Sorry.
commit a sin here. I watched the first Godfather a long time ago. I can barely remember it, which is bad. But also, I wish I'd seen. I want to go and watch all the Godfather films. I mean, the Godfather films is something I haven't seen, which is quite guilty. And also, I've never seen Gladiator. I know that's quite a shock.
Oh, that's bad, man. Even I've seen that. I mean,
I
I'm taking my dad to go and see that when it comes out. 'Cause,
um
like he knows how obsessed I am with films. Because I probably go once every 2 weeks. Haven't
I
recently because of my life, but
I've
recently.
when it comes to my favorite trilogy though, and I've thought about this whilst you were talking about yours. Personally, my favorite trilogy of all time is the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. 1, 2, and 3. That's my
Oh,
favorite trilogy.
see, I
I
would
love,
agree. I would agree. It's one of the best action trilogies. The problem is the third one lets it down so much.
but weirdly enough, man, I love the third film. I don't know what it is. I think it's nostalgia more than anything. But I still love the third film. I think I just got something for Tobey Maguire. I love him, and I love Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane. Oh my god, she's great.
You know what I consider as one of the
She's
best. Gone.
yeah, no. So but quickly going back to the Vegas flight, I'm lucky enough to have gone to America a few times. And when I was a child, it used to be really boring, So it used to kind of be boring flying across and I would hate it.
You'd
But the
have the
last
one
time,
because I've only done it once. Because I remember the last time I flew Atlantic. Because I've only done it bloody once. Before anyone asked, like when he said, "Oh, he's done it so many times," I've done it once, by the way. Um, I remember when I did Florida, it was literally like there's one film for kids, there's two for the adults, and then there's a kids TV channel, but they replay the same films and the same TV episodes every 2 hours. So it don't change. It's not like how it is now, where you can like get Netflix and all that bollocks on it.
yeah, you haven't lived. I mean,
No.
the late
Last time I went on an Atlantic flight was in 2008. I don't even think Netflix was online at that point. That's not even a joke. I'm
But
genuinely
yeah,
being serious.
I mean, this is the thing. When you fly now, the choices are insane. You've got probably hundreds of films, hundreds of TV shows, music, whatever, games even. But the most crucial thing is now when you fly as an adult, when you're in your 20s, and you're flying, it's
There's
actually just
alcohol.
no, but there's alcohol and it's just nice and peaceful. It's nice to just sit down and relax for
Yeah.
a whole
As long as there's not some idiot that brought, and I don't think we're going to have that problem. I actually thought about this, people with kids. I don't think we're really going to have that problem because how many people honestly take kids to Vegas? And the only kids that are going to be on that flight are going to be kids that are going to Mania. I guarantee it. Absolutely guarantee it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we're very privileged to be able to go to Mania. I think it is generally one of those things that it's like a once in a lifetime thing. It's a very much like a I wish I could have done that. I wish I could do that. So
Yeah.
going to Mania is such an amazing thing to be able to
Oh,
say,
100%.
especially
I was actually thinking earlier about like because the C word's coming up, and all that and ho 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 bullshit. Um,
screw.
I'm not a Grinch, and I'm not a Scrooge. I'm not. I just don't think like. So I'll give you an example, okay? Why that annoyed me. Okay. I had a lovely Sunday dinner on Sunday, obviously. Um, and just as I went to go and get my bowl from our lovely breakfast bar that's over there, that my dad made my lovely roast dinner on, went to go and get it, and we've got an Alexa that sits on top of the hob, okay, like on the air thingy that you got the yeah. So it was playing radio too. It's the radio station at the house. You may choose your own. Anyway, that was on in the background, and I went to go and say, like I always do, Alexa, turn off. Because I bet you I've set that off now. I'm amazed I didn't. But anyway, I said,
I'll
mm-hmm,
play it.
yeah, turn off. And just before it did, it was playing a Christmas song on BBC Radio 2. Now, this was on the 3rd of November. So I'm sorry if I come across as a bit of a Grinch, but half the Christmas adverts are already out. I went for my Sunday shop. That's already destroyed with Christmas stuff everywhere, which doesn't surprise me. The shops I don't mind. The adverts drove me up the wall last year because they were being released a month early. Um, which in the UK doesn't makes me sound horrible, but in the UK, genuinely before last year, they weren't allowed to release, or they didn't release Christmas adverts until the second or third week. The third or fourth week of November.
I was just thinking, what is a event of November? How can we keep people jolly? And what I'm wondering, Charlie, is when is Black Friday?
Well, the end of November, then.
That's Black Friday.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
actually, and the funny thing is, me and my dad learned a hack. We went out on the Tuesday before Friday. Apparently, it's Black Tuesday, and all of the deals that would be on Friday were on Tuesday. And me and my dad got the first pick of the bunch, basically, and we managed to. And you're not going to believe this. We went into Vans, and they were selling Vans shoes at just £20.
Oh,
£20.
don't tell me that.
I mean, we could have got multiple pairs, and I think we
Yeah.
should. We didn't. But yeah, I mean, there's some great deals
The
on.
whole holiday thing, though, with the sales, it's become like a 2 week thing now. Like the build up to like the mid of December. Because let's be honest, most people have got it done by mid-December. If you haven't, fine. But
And
from
if I'm
someone that didn't do it last year and had been doing it before December for nearly 6 years straight, you don't want to be in that position. Maybe it's different in America. I don't know. Yeah, or in other countries,
if I'm
actually,
honest, Charlie,
generally, we'd be actually quite interested. But you've got the week
Charlie,
building up to Black Friday weekend, then you've got all that, and then you've got Cyber Monday, and then you've got Bolton Tuesday, and and then it goes into the Christmas sales, and then you have to wait 2.5 weeks, and then you have the Boxing Day sales and the January's, and it's just
sales, sales, sales. And Charlie, speaking of clothes, it's made me think. You're a man of high fashion. I
I'm
would
really
love,
not.
I would love to see you in a Stone Island jumper or a Stone Island bit of kit.
And if one person would like to send me one of them, my address is no. Um,
Would you rock a Stone Island
I,
jumper?
I would, I would. The problem is my bank account wouldn't.
Well, I was in the market for a coat the other day, and my mum talked me out of it. Fair enough. It's like half my mum's wage on one coat.
Oh yeah, no.
But
The only thing I'd ever spend half my month's wage on would probably be, and I said probably makes me sound like really old fashioned, but would be a really nice suit.
I'm gonna shake your hand on this, Charlie. I'm gonna buy you. I'm gonna buy you a Stony for Christmas. I'm
No,
gonna
you're
buy you.
not. No, you're
I
not.
am.
No, you're not. They're way too expensive.
So you can go to West Ham away in with pride.
Yeah. I've got a feeler jacket. That's what I've been rocking this winter.
You
Is
get
a
your
feeler jacket.
What size are you, Charlie?
Uh, Fat bastard.
Oh,
So
I reckon you're a medium.
no, no. I mean, I'd like to say I'm nearly a medium again, but I'm still a large.
Really? Because I'm a
Yeah.
large mostly, and then I fit into XL large. That's where I fit really.
Yeah, but you're shorter than me, but I'm longer, and that's the problem. That is genuinely the problem.
I'm so getting you a Stony. I'm getting
No,
you
you're
something.
not. At some point, we're going to start talking about wrestling on this wrestling podcast today.
Well, you know, okay. Well, at the end of the day,
When it's all done in, you can always rely on a Premier Inn.
yes, when it's all said and done, you can always rely on your only son, Charlie Crick.
You're not my dad. Anyway,
That's what your dad and your mum used to say to me back in the day before you were born.
fair enough. Hang on, wait, what?
Don't worry.
I genuinely thought like you said what I thought you said then, and I was like, nah, I just misheard him. And then I was like, hang on, wait, did he just say
No,
my parents?
yeah. So, uh, right. In terms of wrestling, Charlie, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what it is right now, but I'm just sort of. It's that period of time, and I think it's always this period of time. It's just
You're in
wrestling
the
hits.
long game.
It hits the slump here. It hits the slump in November, December time. That is their slow period. That's their slow season.
But there's
Um,
still one golden nugget left.
there is some, but it's just I'm kind of over the bloodline at the minute. I just am. I just am.
Yeah, I feel like sorry, jump in there, but we're gonna go into it now, obviously. We've just had Crown Jewel. We'll give you our opinions on that in a minute. Crap. Anyway, no, genuinely, I think that the Bloodline story had been. I mean, I've spoken about it before. I've spoken about it on my TikToks, like last year. Um, and it has happened before at this time of the year, where it just slows down to a point where you're just like, oh, this is just dragging. But it will pick back up. I guarantee you, it will pick back up. And the reason why I said then there's a golden nugget coming is because I think that we all know what they're going to do at Survivor Series and War Games.
Yeah, games. That's a good pay per view,
And
and
that's yeah.
it's still one of the big four. Would you say?
Oh, 100%. Ever since they brought back War Games, 100%.
Do you think you put it over Money in the Bank?
No,
Okay,
no.
interesting. So you still think WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series? Big four.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people actually account Elimination Chamber in that, but personally, I would actually take out Elimination Chamber and replace it with Survivor Series if we were guaranteed a War Games match every year now.
I think we are. I think that's become a
If
staple.
that's the way it's going to go forward, I would put that in place because purely, I've got no problem with Elimination Chamber, but I think when it comes down to the actual type of match that is, it's a long hog to watch. Like it takes so long for it to actually get to something. Whereas with the Royal Rumble, it's something new every 2 minutes. With SummerSlam, it's genuinely the creme de la creme coming up halfway through the year. It's like Mania Part 2, and Mania is Mania. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
For me, I'll be honest. The Royal Rumble is my favorite event of the year. Like it always is. I just love the Royal Rumble. I just adore it. I just always think it's always that chance for a big refresh. The
yeah,
winner of the Royal Rumble, it sets up a big star. I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, the Royal Rumble was somewhat of a mid-season finale, or not even a mid-season finale. Maybe like the episode before the finale that gets you super hyped up for that end. and sometimes the cliffhanger can be better than the conclusion,
Oh yeah. I mean, I look at this year's. They had to do
Well,
a press conference even in Vegas just to confirm what they were actually going to do with the thing.
what do you mean?
Like the cliffhanger at the end of Royal Rumble. Cody won again. Weren't expecting him to win again, let's be honest. And he pointed at Roman. He said he weren't going to go for Roman. Rock had already come back in the picture. Then you had Seth come involved and say that you should come for me. And then we genuinely didn't know what was going to happen. Then you had the whole "We want Cody" chant. And to add to the hype of that, they did a press conference in Vegas just to confirm part of the storyline in a wrestling show. Like, if you count that press conference, that could have just been a single episode on its own. No, to make no bones about it.
It's just crazy to me. It's like how fans can dictate. In a way, it just shows in wrestling,
How much
fans
power the fans have.
fans have all the power. Really,
Yeah,
if we want something, we'll have it. If we
yeah.
start chanting for, let's say, Xavier Woods to be world champion,
It
it would have.
happened, and it
Yeah,
happened.
you know.
Yeah, we wanted a women's main event because the person that was at the top at the time was Becky Lynch, and we got the main event that we wanted.
Yeah,
We wanted Cody to headline, and we got it. You know, all them things. And I think it will be the same this year. That as much as we all love Cody, and I think Cody will definitely headline one of the nights or be involved in this fight in some way. I think the majority of it this year will be we want Rock and Roman.
yeah, and that's
You know,
that's that. That makes me think though the fans sometimes, and this is what Vince got right, is sometimes the fans don't get it right. Sometimes we think we know what we want, but when we actually have it, when we actually get it, it's not as good as we thought. And that's the thing with Vince. He sort of sometimes averted expectations and threw a complete curveball in the mix. And sometimes it didn't pay off, sometimes it did.
you
You
know,
know, and
I think one of the biggest mistakes he made, and I'm genuinely going to get hate for this purely because it is actually one of the best storylines I've ever seen. However, going back to when you said the bloodline was going a bit far, going to what you said then about Vince knowing what we wanted and, delivering it, I think the biggest mistake he ever made was doing John Cena versus Rock twice. Purely because they built it up so well over a 2 year thing and the whole year leading up to it because they announced it the night after Mania that the next head main event at the next year's one and they built it up perfectly. I don't think they should have had the second match because the whole time it was being called once in a lifetime, once in a lifetime. Well, it wasn't, was it? Because you
yeah,
did.
yeah, I get that. I get that. But
So maybe they shouldn't have. Maybe I don't regret them doing the matches. I just think they shouldn't have chosen that as the tagline.
I remember staying up to watch that match, the original one, and it was with someone called Bradley Cobb, and I don't know, I think I was in primary school or maybe just in secondary school, and I vaguely remember watching that, and I remember the John Cena match personally at the time,
What
feeling
was
a
your
bit.
initial reaction when he lost?
It was a bit underwhelming. I thought the match itself with The Rock and everything, I thought that was a little bit of an underwhelming match.
Oh
Uh,
no, no.
I think it was for me. I think
I
it was.
thought it was a brilliant match and it had the shock. And I think that's the when I look back now, retrospectively, I think that's exactly why they did it with Cody because they knew the shock it would have because
Oh,
they'd done it before.
no, come on, let's agree. When Cody lost, that you could hear it in every wrestling fan's room in the arena. You could
You could
hear a
hear a
pin
pin
drop.
drop. Yeah.
It was absolutely shocking when he lost, and it caused. And that's what they want. That it caused emotion. You were emotionally invested, and he lost, and it made you furious. But
But they've done it
that's
so many times recently that it's been so good. I think that's why they've been on such a wave recently. I mean, one thing I'm not saying it's at the same level, but one thing that did happen this year that I know just annoyed people, so it annoyed me, because you were there, um, was SummerSlam this year when it was Liv versus Rhea Ripley and Dom turned on Rhea. That was it was shocking. I genuinely thought that was so shocking. I don't know about anyone else. but it makes you want them to take that to Mania, which I think they will now. However, there's two people in the pipeline that I think
That's what I think. That's why they've ruled Rhea out for now because they're slowing it down.
yeah,
Because
because
if it,
there's two people particularly that, well, three now actually, now I think about it, that haven't been in action for the shortest amount of time was 3 months. Um, that all of them could go on, come back at the Royal Rumble, do really well, and then go on and make one of the main events of Mania, and that is Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Becky Lynch. All of them have been out of action for 3 months or more. Alexa's been out for over a year.
I'm
She's
gonna
had a kid. Charlotte's been out for nearly 8 months because of her injury, and Becky's been out for 3 or 4 months now.
I'm gonna make a bet with you. I think I'm gonna give you. I'll give you 15 quid if this doesn't happen. I think AJ Lee is gonna come in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that.
This is the year I think AJ Lee is gonna return. Um, it'll just be really good. It'll make sense. Let me just give you a question here, Charlie. It's a little bit abstract, but if you had a budget of £600, right, and it costs £200 to have a meet and greet with any wrestler in the WWE field, who are you spending that money on at Vegas? If you can meet three,
Anyone?
well, I mean, I imagine that's
Is it
the
just one person?
is that the most you're willing to spend, or are you more thinking about two people, or even maybe
It
one?
depends what you're saying would come with it, because that's the difference. Like if it's 600 quid and it was three people,
Because we know you get with the meet and greets in WWE world, you get an autograph, a picture with them, and I
you
think
get
that's
to
it.
ask a question.
Yeah, you can get
Something
to
like
ask.
that. Which is, I think, like, I don't think the prices are right. I don't think you should be charged at all. You know, it's the world we live in these days. Um, I don't think that that's bad considering, like, um, you also get an exclusive item as well. You also get an exclusive piece of merch that's only available at WWE World. That's another thing.
Okay.
Oh, and you get a private half an hour Q&A with them.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
cool.
not bad, actually, I think. You
Yeah,
get
so
half an hour Q&A, you're guaranteed to get a question, you get an item personally signed, you get a limited edition piece of merch, which I think is the thing they do sign, and you get to have a photo with them. So, um, if I could pick three people, do they have to be current or like could they be people that are
you don't
still?
want to waste you don't want to waste your money that on people that aren't freaking current. I mean, unless it is the big dogs, but
Yeah, I was going to
there's
say because if so, there's some people that are big dogs that I would spend money on to do that with,
okay,
100%.
just current
Okay,
only.
current it would be Cody, Seth Rollins, and them two are just easy for me. Just Seth been the one that I followed the most, right? Roman's fantastic, but to me, I always thought it should have been Seth in that position. That's why he was given, basically given the MVP of this WrestleMania. Um, Cody because he means a lot to me. And then I'd say, I mean, I would have said John Cena, but I've got to meet him, so I
For
can
you,
technically say he's still active.
that's crazy.
Um,
You met him. That's mental to me.
um, and who else current? You know what? I'd actually probably say someone like Becky Lynch. Genuinely. If I was going to throw a woman in there as well, it probably would be Becky Lynch.
Seth's a really good choice, I think.
Yeah.
Um, I would
I
love to
think I
see.
think the fourth, sorry, really quickly. I think fourth place, if I could, would, and this is just my opinion, um, fourth place, it would be someone like AJ Styles, because I remember when he came in. Because when he came in and all that was going on, was when I started to get into wrestling a lot more, when I really started watching it. So when AJ Styles came to WWE originally, and he had that massive run and all that stuff, and the Shield had just started, and Becky Lynch had just been moved. You see, that was the generation I grew up on. I remember Cody being Gold Dust and all that stuff. Stardust, sorry, his brother's Gold Dust.
I okay. this is my list. And first of all, I would love to. I hope this goes on, and I hope we get tickets because I would love to see both of us in the queue to meet Cody Rhodes because I know both of us would be absolutely bricking it in
Oh
a
yeah.
way. Because I think because for me and you, he means a lot to us, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know, and he's such
He was
a
let's be honest, I think the reason why he means a lot to our generation is because he was the underdog when we were teenagers for so long. So, all right, fair enough. People may say what they want about him being a champion, like it's not lived up to it. Take all that aside, to have someone that you grew up going, oh, I really wish he'd do it one day, because he's got such a great name and all that, and it never happened. To then have someone come back and do it the way he has on his own terms, I think purely for me, it just comes down to I've got so much respect for the guy for doing it his way.
yeah, and that's it. You know, Cody would be someone I would desperate to meet, and I hope we do get there. Second for me would be CM
Anyone at
Punk.
WWE that hears this, please, contact us. You can
Yeah,
contact us through
uh,
Twitter and, our emails and that.
yeah, CM Punk for me because he's just been one of
Oh
my
yeah, Punk would be pretty high up there for me.
favorites of all time. You know, going through everything. You know, all the stages of his careers, and I've always been a big fan of his. I really have, and I followed him all the way from like ECW even, and even Ring of Honor. But he just like someone that I've always liked. He's very polarizing, and sometimes I haven't agreed with everything he's always said, but it's just one of my someone I would love to meet. And thirdly, and I don't know if this is a waste of a pick, and I think you can think why I'm choosing this one, but Liv Morgan.
No,
um,
I think at the stage she's at now, Liv would be a great person to meet because she's done well already, and she's gonna get to the point where she is considered like a Becky Lynch, she is considered like a Charlotte Flair, she is considered like a Ronda Rousey in a better way. You know what I mean? Um,
Liv Morgan would be awesome to meet. It'd just be great to get a picture with her. And yeah, she'd just be really cool. And then an honorable mention would be someone like Seth Rollins. And both of us, I'm surprised we didn't say Roman Reigns.
no,
Neither,
and I think that's because we both know one, neither of us could ever afford it, and two, he doesn't do it anymore.
I think as well with Roman, I can imagine him being quite cold.
I think no, I don't think he would be. I think he would be with you. He wouldn't be with me. And the
That's hot.
difference is I have oxygen cannulas. And I know for a fact that he breaks character when he's with people like that. He does so much work for Make a Wish and chemotherapy charities and all that. Like some people like I remember it was only like 4 or 5 months ago. He was visiting one of the leukemia hospitals, I think in Canada. And like he brought every piece of merch he had with him, and gave it to all the kids. I know at the Royal Rumble this year, even though he was there and he was performing in that box that he was watching it from, they couldn't obviously show it and he didn't want them to. But he was actually doing a make-a-wish that day, and it was for a blind kid to meet him, and he took him to the box to watch the show with him. And he does all this stuff and people don't get it.
Oh, you
And
know,
like he's such a nice guy, I think, deep down. Well, I know he is. And plus the fact it's been quite nice because where he's had them knockbacks, he started to become more of an open character again to people. So
I think now he sits in the role, and I think I've touched on this before, but he kind of sits as like being an anti-hero. He's not necessarily good, but he's not necessarily bad.
no,
It's just sort of him, you know.
100%.
And I think that's when you reach the superstar level, when you're sort of liked for whatever you do. Like The Rock, again, like he can be a heel or a baby face. He's always going to be liked, like
Oh,
sort of
I don't know.
respected, I
I don't know.
guess,
Last year
and
he
always be
pushed the
cheered
term.
in.
This year, should I say? I think he proved a point that
I
you
think he
can
got
be the
booed
most
because
loved
like
person in the world and still get heat in this business.
yeah, and that's because simply he sort of pushed Cody out of the picture, which people hated, and I hated because I thought you're using your authority, and it's almost like let someone else have the ball, you know, let someone else
But it's
have a chance.
because he played it so well, because people were comparing him doing it because he was the one on the board there, and people were genuinely going like, "Oh, he's doing this because he's in charge and he can do what he wants." No, he was playing that in the character. You just keep on putting perception and reality together when you keep on forgetting this is all not real. But again, we all get soaked up in it. It's like that's what makes it so fun. And I think that's one thing that has worked really well is that a lot of people have called it is that this last few years, especially the last 3 years personally, it really has been like people have been saying, oh, what should we call the next era? It has to be called the realism era because they've gone past the term so many times that it genuinely has just, yeah. So no, 100% agree with you on that. One thing that I did think of then, um, I hate it when I use that word. It really annoys me. It's called dead air. If anyone ever says, it just doesn't sound like you know what you're doing. So I apologize for even saying that
Um,
then.
um, um,
But
Let me
what I
think.
was gonna say was, where we were talking about the thing with where Rock turned heel and like, it actually annoyed people and it blurred the lines. One thing I was thinking of when we were saying that was, do you think that because it's his last year and we're leading up to it, do you think that we're finally going to see a John Cena heel turn? Because the more I thought about it, the more I actually think it's going to happen.
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if they will because it's like why turn him heel just to, I think if he does get serious heat and stuff, do you want people hating him towards his final match?
I don't know. Hey, speaking of final matches, just throwing this one in here quickly. Uh, this was hot off the press on Saturday afternoon. Did you see who's going to come back next year and have a final retirement match?
Goldberg.
Yes, yes. And do you know the best thing is, ain't going to be the match he wants.
It's gonna be against um Charlotte Flair.
I don't know, but
No, it's not.
yeah,
Go on.
obviously not. I got a very quick story for the listeners here. I was very privileged enough to get a private meet and greet with Goldberg a couple of years ago now. And we were sitting in the room, chilling out. Uh, and there was only a few people at this. This was a very, very exclusive meet and greet. This was. And we were chilling there. I think I had a beer in my hand, or I think actually a glass of champagne, to be honest. And we were sitting there, and he was telling stories. We were all asking questions. Each one was going into like another 20-minute story. By the way, he's Bill Goldberg, such a nice guy. Honestly, so nice. Very, very down to earth, very genuine. Not like his character at all. Um, he's probably one of the most pleasant wrestlers I've ever met. Like the biggest stars are genuinely some of the nicest I've met. So Undertaker, lovely guy. John Cena, well, what do you expect? It's John Cena. And Goldberg, like they're probably the three biggest I've ever met, and they are probably the nicest guys I've met in the industry. But going back to it, well, I was at this private meet and greet with Goldberg about 2 years ago, and he was telling me these stories. And someone asked the question and said, would you ever go back? And he said, well, I'm not going to say I'll go back, but the thing that annoys me is people say that I've retired, and I've not said I've retired. So when I say I've retired, I've retired. But there's one person, if I did have a final match, I know exactly who it would be with. And he said, do you guys want to have a guess? And we were guessing and guessing and guessing. And he said, I'll give you a hint. Who's the one person in WCW that I never had a fight with? And there was only one person,
Oh,
and it
let me
was
think. Let me think. Well, you say Sting.
it was Sting. And that's who he wanted his last match with. Now, bearing in mind, this was in 2020. Was it last year? Yes, 2020. We're in 2023. He said that. And then this year, Sting had his last match in 2024. And then next year in 2025, he's going to have his last match. So, is there a possibility? Is there a possibility that Sting would do that match? I don't think so. But do I think there's a chance that he could change his mind and go to AEW and have this match with Sting? I think there's a chance.
Oh, I don't
And it
know.
wouldn't surprise me.
I can't see it happening in WWE because I
Oh,
think
no, it
Sting is
wouldn't happen in WWE because Sting has literally just signed the first AEW Legend contract, meaning he'd keep working for them, producing and managing and training, and would still make side appearances here and there. which is another way of them saying he's not actually done in the ring, but we're not going to count any of them as an official match. You know, like what happened at All In.
Yeah, that was good.
That was awesome, by the way.
All In was good, wasn't it? It was good.
All In was fantastic this year. The more I look back at it, the more I think that was actually brilliant this year.
Yeah,
Because my first Mania was WrestleMania 30, and one of the first people I really, really got involved with. I already loved John Cena and that, but the time I really got interested and wanted to see what happened at Mania was WrestleMania 30. Which personally I think is actually a classic first Mania, if you think about it, because the some of the fights that night, and bearing in mind this was my first Mania, was Undertaker losing his streak. So I didn't really see what the big fuss was about at the time, and then I looked back and realized. John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. Um, Daniel Bryan winning the championship. You also had there was lots of other classics that night. I think you had Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch that night. There was a lot of classics that night. But yeah, you've really made me go off script now, for God's sake. So
I
yeah,
I need to get a word in, Charlie. Otherwise, I don't know. Actually, I don't know where I was going with that. But Sting, I no, I see what you're going. I see what you're saying. I mean, the Daniel Bryan moment at the end of All In was great.
that's what I was getting to. Yeah.
It was great. Really, really good. I really hope this Mania we see is like some like I've heard reports back from people that have been to Mania and been round like that whole week and gone to SmackDown and Raw and NXT and WrestleMania. And as a wrestling fan, they said it's like one of the best weeks of their entire life. Like they said it's just the most incredible week ever. And I really hope it's like that for us. I
Oh,
think it will.
100%.
I really think it will be. Just to soak it all up for a whole week. You know, it's not just one event. You know,
No,
we're on
and that's the
holiday,
thing.
and every single night we're doing something. You know, we're going somewhere, and
Yeah.
it's just there's never going to be a moment of
Yeah.
any. Well, I mean, bloody hell, I don't think
Tuesday night, we're going to the hotel. Wednesday night, we're going to the bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Thursday night, we're going to the bar again.
I mean, I'll tell the viewers this. Charlie's disclaimed to me, and you know, I can't believe he said this. He's actually going to gamble all his dad's savings in Vegas, which
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
think is really, really immature. But
Yeah, said the
leave,
man who's left his wardrobe open.
leave that to Charlie and leave that to his own. You know, he can decide for himself. Don't think his dad's going to be very happy though.
It's
Depending on if
obviously
he.
not happening. Good. Obviously not happening. You've made me lose my train of thought again, Callum.
Um, hey, you never know. You never know. We could go
No.
to one of the big casinos, and you know how it is, very star-studded. We could be bricking playing blackjack next to Roman Reigns. You never know. That could happen.
It won't happen.
Well, it could.
It won't.
Why not? Why not?
Because they have private gambling
Areas.
areas for people that have that type of money or people that are well known.
Yeah, they probably do. You're not
No,
wrong.
they do genuinely. You look it up. There's places in all the big casinos where like you'll never see it yourself, but there's private parts of the casino
I think
where
we should
it's for the
go.
people that can where like the minimum bet is like 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand upwards.
I think as well, like we should disclaim as well. We should disclaim like a couple things that are essential that we want to do. So like two things that you really, really want to do. And
I've remembered the thing I was going to say. I'll say it in a minute now.
but one of the things I need to do to mark it off my list is to go to the
Tack drill.
no that well that's one of them as well. But the porn stars gold and silver shop, you know, from
Oh
history.
yeah, I was getting worried about what you meant then, and then I remembered, and now I know. Yeah, well, yeah, we need to go there. Apparently, the queue to get in there though is massive.
That's okay. That's okay. It's worth probably getting in there and just having a look around.
But the thing
Maybe
is, it's 24 hours, so technically we could go there after one of like the events and just go there
that's the
when there
meant
wouldn't be any queue.
like a pawn shop. open 24 hours. That's mental. Only in Vegas would you get that.
Yeah, everything's open 24 hours in Vegas, so I bet you there's an.
Yes.
I guarantee you this. I guarantee you this, and I'm not even going to Google it. I guarantee you there is probably an ice cream shop that is 24 hours in Vegas.
Oh, I'm sure.
Guarantee you.
And
Guarantee you.
crazy thing is as well, like I was what's the word? I was literally uh oh, what was I gonna say? I was literally thinking this that I was in when I went to New York for like a college trip. We went clothes shopping at 1 in the morning, and there was like clothes shops open at 1 in the morning. It's just
Yeah.
crazy, you know.
Yeah, don't
Um,
surprise me.
it's America operates differently.
Well, I
Um,
know our hotel, which we are not going to tell people where we're staying. Um, Not that we're like gonna worry about fans. It's just privacy is fucking privacy at the end of the day. uh,
we are staying at
the 24-hour chapel. No, um, the um, the hotel that we're staying at has. Maybe I shouldn't say this after what I've just said, but I think there's more than one hotel that has this. There's an entire shopping mall just in our hotel.
14 bars and restaurants,
Yeah,
maybe
stop
more.
giving them hints. Then
I
narrow
mean,
it down.
most hotels have one bar, but this
Yeah,
this is 14 bars,
yeah,
like 18 restaurants.
yeah,
It's not just a hotel; it's the freaking holiday resort.
yeah. That was going back to one thing, just because I want to get this off my chest, and personally because I want to ask you the question, is we are talking about things that could happen at Mania last week, and we were getting really excited. We were going to talk about Crown Jewel this week. Let's just get that out of the way really quickly. Personally, it wasn't very good. It was nothing really happened. Very dull. I liked Roman's match. I really liked Cody's match. I thought Seth's match was a banger. I thought the others were rough to watch, and I'm just being honest here.
Yeah, I said this to Charlie privately, but I just feel like for me it was just like a glorified massive
House
house show.
show. And the
Yeah,
reason why we say that is because one thing, and this is genuinely true, we were talking yesterday, and Callum actually said to me, it'll be really nice to see them crown jewel belts when they come over to the UK this week in proper photos. And I had to tell him there and then that them belts, in case if you do not know, were made only for that event and will only be worn in Saudi Arabia. They will never be taken back to any other country. The only thing that the winners got was a ring to look like the Super Bowl ring that says Crown Jewel. The belts are worth so much money, they do not trust them to even put them in bulletproof case carried by 8 security guards. So that stuff that they were doing, that wasn't part of the show. That is genuinely how much them belts are worth. Okay. They are worth so much that they needed to be in a bulletproof case and they needed to have at least 6 security guards around it, even when the match was happening. Because the belts are worth, and I believe this is correct, 25 million each they cost to make.
wow, that's
And
like it annoys me a little bit, but that I could say this with anything when there are starving people in the world, and then they're spending 25 million on a freaking belt that's never going to be
yeah,
worn. That annoys me a bit, but you can
yes. Sorry.
of anything. You can say that of
Yeah.
anything.
So going back to it, the belt is purely made for the Crown Jewel event, which will go on for another 3 or 4 more years because they've got the contract with Saudi Arabia and Dubai. The belts will only be worn there, and they will go straight back into the museum, which they have over there, which is the WWE Experience. You actually saw them get taken there by the security guards after the pre-show, if you look it up, to go and have photos with Triple H in the WWE Experience, with them holding the belts and all of that, and then they have been put straight into glass cabinets, bulletproof and all that crap. And they've taken loads of photos, which will go up on the wall in there, and then each year they add another person to it. That is all they're doing with them belts. So the belts weren't even like meaning anything. Another thing, really quickly, I swear to God that they said that the matches for that event, both belts were going on the line.
No, well, I mean that was the idea, but
So
that was
what the
like
hell happened there? Because I
that's the
thought Gunther would lose his belt.
no, that was sort of like the initial thought. But God, we don't want to fucking unify the titles again. No way.
Oh
I
no, we went through 4 years of that.
don't want to do that again. No
No.
way. Let's steer clear of that.
It worked once, never do it again.
It's cool for a little while to see a guy
It
with two
works for
belts.
like 6 months, and then after 6 months, it doesn't work. And the thing is, Roman was so good, and you look back now and you think how good it was, and it was brilliant. But I still stand by this. Unifying the belts after a year was the most stupid thing. Because if they would have done and gave Cody the belt after a year, fine. Because they would have had to separate it then. But the fact that they had to redo the whole entire belt system in WWE after nearly 60 years just to fix that problem, that's the one bug I have about Roman's title reign, is that they had to redo the belt category for the first time in 60 years of the company because it was just getting so flatulent to watch. And now I'm going to throw in the thing that I nearly forgot. Talking about Mania that we was a few minutes ago and about the stuff that we said that we hope would happen. Here's one thing, because you said to me, if you could meet anyone, and I said, is it people that are still active or not active? This person technically isn't active, but from what I've heard, there's rumors, and there's been strong rumors since about June that this guy could be coming back for a fight at Mania. And I'm going to throw the hat in the ring now, and I think there is actually a really potential chance that we're going to see Steve Austin versus John Cena. Because Steve said he wants to fight him, John said he wants to fight him. Austin was offered a lot of money to come back last time at the 40th. This time it's in Vegas. We've seen the prices that they've put out there. It's in Vegas. The prices are going to be big, but they're going to try and put on the biggest show. It's on Netflix. It's the first time their biggest pay-per-view has been on the world's biggest streaming platform. They're going to want to get the viewers in. They're going to want to get the old school fans back in. Having Cena retiring that year anyway, having it be his last Mania, I just think all the stars align for it to be Austin versus Cena. I think I said this when they originally announced
I
Cena's
mean, if the stars
retirement.
align, we should get okay. Imagine this: Roman versus The Rocks, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus John Cena, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. I mean, that alone is crazy.
Yeah,
just them
yeah.
matches.
But I
Um,
do one thing on that. I do think that the last match you said, Punk versus Seth, I genuinely think with the way they're going, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a freeway between um Drew McIntyre as well. Hey, make it a fatal four way and put Gunther in the mix and make it for the Intercontinental Championship or whatever it is he's got.
I
World
think we
Heavyweight
should
Championship.
put some respect on the World Heavyweight Championship.
No, but genuinely, actually, now I think about it, that would be a bloody brilliant match, wouldn't it? Fatal four way for that belt.
Just
Gunther, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. That'd be brilliant.
it would. I know we haven't got too much time left, but I will just touch on this. Is the Wyatt Six living up to expectation?
Uh, yes, because
They
there
feel
wasn't too there
they feel
wasn't that much expectation for it in the first place because people didn't really know where it was going to go. So they've kind of grounded the level. However, if you've seen Raw this week, they've picked up and they've picked up with a big star.
for
Put it
Miz.
that
Yeah.
way.
Oh yeah, but I feel like for me they feel very mid cardy. I mean that Miz is a
Of
mid
course, they're
carder.
mid card.
I don't
Of
like
course,
that
they're
though.
mid card.
Be more upper card.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, Callum, and I love the way that they're respecting Bray Wyatt and they're doing this and they're going to do this in a tribute for years to come. I think the position it is in is perfect because if it got too big and it then went flat, it would then get boring and then eventually they'd stop it. If they keep it where it is and they bring it back every now and then, it reminds people about this amazing wrestler that was there, that was probably one of the most creative people we've ever seen, and he'll teach kids in years to come, like who they're paying respect to. Keep them at that level, and yeah, I think it's great personally.
I really hope they do some Wyatt Six Funko Pops. That would be cool.
I've heard rumors.
Well,
I've heard rumors.
I'll be lapping
Yeah.
all up.
Um. Yeah. I think that's nearly it for this week. How
Go fishing.
you going fishing?
Yeah.
We're going streaking.
Skinny dipping.
Yeah. Oh, that was it. Going back to the film thing, just to finish on that. Because that's where we started this week. Really quick thing. Um, I was thinking at the time what trilogy I'd count as one of the best in all different categories, and the first one I did think of was comedy, and I genuinely think the best comedy trilogy, in my humble opinion, is The Hangovers.
I like him.
Yeah,
I can respect.
yeah. I mean, best animated has to be something like Shrek or Toy Story, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah. But thank you very much for listening. We know we didn't really talk a lot about wrestling this week, but we kind of just wanted to have a general catch up with you guys.
feel like we did.
By the way, I just want to throw this in really quickly. Thank you to everyone that is listening and viewing and watching our videos because I get emails every week saying our numbers and all that stuff, the statistics of all that stuff that I'm not going to go into because it will bore you.
What are our
They're
statistics, John?
really good.
Have
Okay.
we've actually got.
We've got decent people out there. We're getting around about 50, 30 listens or downloads a week, and we're probably getting nearly 100 views on YouTube for
That's
each
actually
video.
really. That's
So,
really.
and considering we barely do any promotion for this, and we know there's people genuinely listening to this now that are coming back. I just want to say that it really does genuinely mean a lot because we haven't done the throw it down your throats on TikTok route or anything like that. We've built this from the bare bones, and the fact that nearly after a year, we've genuinely got people coming back, and we've genuinely got fans that are listening to this. It really does actually mean a lot to
It's
me, and I
pretty
know it
cool.
probably does to you, Callum.
I wish you
Um,
had shared that with me because I thought we were just talking to ourselves.
no, we're not. We're not. We've actually got people listening. It's so cool.
Okay,
Um,
that's
so
good to know.
yeah. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. That was a nice note to finish on, wasn't it?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Tell your friends, tell your fathers, tell your
Yeah.
mothers,
Tell
tell
your
your
mum.
tell your brothers,
Yeah.
tell your cousins, tell your aunties, tell your uncles. Good night from me, and good night, Charlie.
No, you did it wrong. You got to do it right now. It's a good night from me.
And then good night from me.
No, it's a good night from me, and it's a good night from him. It's a good night from me.
It's good night from him.
Good night.
Good night.